yoga flow this morning. Today's Saturday morning practice. We are going to start back on our backs on your mats. Some helpful props to have nearby might be a yoga block or maybe a blanket. Not required, but if you have those things, it's certainly helpful. Today's practice, we're going to go ahead and just kind of get in here, right? Get into this space. Go ahead and start to become a little bit more aware of your breath. Closing your eyes, relaxing your spine down into the earth. And of course, if at any point in time you're not comfortable closing your eyes, you certainly don't have to, but just let that gaze become as gentle and soft as you can. Your breath is nice and slow and steady. And you're just using these first moments of today's practice just to kind of check in, see what's going on in there. Maybe you start to notice some physical areas that feel like they're holding on to something, some stress or some tension. Maybe you start to notice that your mind, goodness, it is busy even on a Saturday morning. Any noticing, any observing that you do is perfectly fine, but then let's just try to let it go. Let go, release anything that's no longer serving us or anything that just is easy to just say and let it go. Today's opening intention or our power thought card reads, every thought I think is creating my future. The universe totally supports every thought I choose to think and believe, and I have unlimited choices about what I think. I choose balance, harmony, and peace. Balance, harmony, and peace. And I express it in my life. Today's class is going to be themed around those topics, those ideas, those feelings, balance, peace, and harmony, or balance, harmony, and peace. So as we start to invite in a little bit of movement in our bodies here, if your knees have been bent, let's see if we can let our legs go long. Now, if that doesn't feel good for both legs to go long at the same time, you can stretch one leg long and then switch it out and stretch the other leg long. If it feels okay to let your legs go long and then maybe just kind of sway your toes back and forth, right and left, little opener here for hip flexors. Maybe it feels good to let your toes fall out and then fall in, fall out, and fall in. Then we'll take our right knee and just let it slide the right foot up the mat. So bend that right knee, slide the right foot up. Let your right knee fall out to the side as if you're making tree pose here on your back. Stretch your arms up overhead if that feels okay. Palms might face up to the ceiling. We let our head just gently rock here from side to side. And then when you feel ready, we'll reach that right hand down, stand the right knee up, pull it in towards your chest. Hands perhaps coming to the shin, point flex toes or roll around ankle. And then invite that right knee over and across your body. This isn't the biggest twist you can do, so stop it. Maybe put your foot down on the ground or just kind of let that knee barely move over towards that left side, right arm extend out nice and long. Perfect. As you feel ready, start to invite that knee back to center. Hug it into the chest one more time. And then we're going to send it long to meet the left. Left foot this time slides up the mat. Place it down near the inner edge of that right knee. And then let the left knee fall to the side. Maybe arms reach up overhead. Again, like you're doing tree pose. Leaving space for those shoulders. Head may sway a little bit right and left. All right, when you feel ready, we'll slowly start to stand that knee back up to ceiling. Bring it over and across the body, taking a nice twist here. We'll go back to giving that knee a little bit of space here in just a moment. Perfect. Coming out of that twist, give yourself one more breath. And then just hold the knee back at center. So as we did before, hands on shin, point and flex the toes, give it a little bit of space. And then we're just gonna invite the right knee in to join the left knee, rock around on the back, creating a little bit of peace in that lowest part of the spine, just giving it a gentle massage. Feet will extend up towards the ceiling, arms reach up overhead, point and flex those toes. And then we're gonna keep those lower abdominals anchored into the earth. Hands are gonna slide down, coming on either sides of the hips. And you can stay right here as you allow your legs to just take a little gentle scissor. Now, the deeper you open those legs, the further they spread from one another, the more core work this is going to require. So you can do something really small where you keep your feet together and then let one come out. You can also do this with one foot on the floor, rise up, and then switch. Other foot on the floor, rise up, and then switch. Or you can continue to just give yourself a few more moments of fluttering, gluing those lower abdominals into the earth for 3, 2, keep that strength, and 1. Beautiful, relax that, some bends in the knees, some swaying side to side. Good work. Warming us up from the middle part of our body first, really building that heat. When you feel ready, you can roll all the way to your right, use the floor, push or rock and roll on your spine to come to a seat. I'm gonna turn on my mat just to face you. You can face any direction you want. Hands reaching out towards the sides. Spine is nice and tall. Inhale to roll these shoulders up towards your ears and then let them fall down the spine. Right hand lifts near ear. Bring it over and let it reach for maybe the earlobe, maybe the middle of the ear, maybe it's just gently pressed on top of the head. Let that opposite hand come out and touch the floor as we give just a gentle bit of pressure to the side of the head. And we're not yanking it over by any means. We're just, the weight of the hand helps open the neck. Inhale, breath, bring that right hand back up. Exhale, let it tap just out in front of your left knee. Little twist. Inhale, bring that right hand up. And then we're gonna slide the left hand even further and reach over. Almost looking like side angle. When we take that side angle pose with the elbow on your knee and you reach over the top of the head, that's the same type stretch we're looking for here. Chest is nice and square. Beautiful. Inhale, bring this right hand up and then all the way down to tap the floor. Left arm reaches up, elbow bends. Start looking for whatever place of pressure you're going to take to this side. Beautiful, release the head, right hand or left hand up this time. Left hand taps just outside that right knee. Little twist. Inhale, left hand back up. And then allow the hand to slide out to the side, reach over. So this is, again, looks like that side angle pose that we often do standing right out of our warrior. Hold this space for 3, 2, and 1. Big inhale, fingertips touch down towards the earth, roll those shoulders. Let's find tabletop pose. Tabletop now is gonna look like wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. So take your time to find that shape. Of course, if you're practicing on a hard surface or you have sensitive knees, you certainly can look for a blanket. We're gonna do a couple poses on our knees here in a row. So if you know you have that sensitivity, it might be smart to look for it. Taking your time to kind of rock around here a little bit, just finding space on the earth, warming up those wrists, warming up your fingers. Turn your hands multiple directions, put weight into the wrist multiple ways. If you got a little pep in your step this morning, you might be moving a little faster. Those of us who are here for yoga, but Want to rest a little bit too. You might be moving a little slower. That's okay. All right, but find that tabletop. So since we talked to our core already this morning, we're going to let it continue to speak. So when you're ready, inhale, breath, left hand extends, right leg goes long. Exhale, come down and march, switch. And switch. So this is going to match with my breath. And I'm just going to flow in and out of alternating bird dog pose here for a few more breaths. You look fantastic. So of course, we're watching this back leg, making sure it's not hiked way up here to the sky, control. Let your core do some work. Squeeze that glute as you lift into your point. We'll go one more each direction. Next time your hands are back to earth, stay there. Cat, cow, belly drops, inhale, breath. Exhale, breath, round spine. Two more. Last one. Feel free to breathe with me. Big exhale, rounded spine. Hips sit back towards heels, knees widen as wide as the mat, child's pose. 3 breaths. Really surrender your belly down into the earth. Use this as a hip opener with those knees nice and wide. One more breath. Bringing yourself back up through that tabletop position. Right hand is going to extend straight forward. Left toes nice and long. Exhale, breath, elbow to knee. Inhale, look for a length. Exhale, elbow to knee. Balance here. Remembering if at any time we need to bring that hand down and just function with the lower part of your body, that is okay. One more time. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Right hand comes down, even with about your forehead. Left foot turns on its inside edge. Slide this right foot just behind you so that you can open up into a side plank, a modified version here. Maybe the hand feels good coming up here by your bicep to your ear. Hand way above the head, that might feel nice. Perhaps it feels good to flex this back foot and lift it up off the ground. Maybe you choose to even bend the knee and reach around. Whatever variations feel good to you this morning, take it. Beautiful. Take your time to work back down towards the earth. We're going to get onto hands and knees again, but give our legs a little bit of space to open more. So toes are curling under. Warm up the tops of the ankles, tops of the feet. Really engage those toes into the earth. Lift the knees, bear plank. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Hips lift the rest of the way up. And now you're in downward dog. Now use this first down dog to really explore. Walk it out. Bend the knees. Those of you who are dog owners, you've probably seen your dog kind of walk in a circle before they decide where they want to lay down. It's kind of what we're doing here. We're warming up our mat, trying to figure out the perfect place for our savasana later to come. Knees drop back down to mat. Right hand, no, left hand. Right foot extends. And move with the breath. So remembering, if this hand on the ground is having a little trouble with wrists, you can always make a fist. Sometimes that's helpful. I've seen others use blocks as a way to help wrists that might be experiencing a little issue or a little tenderness here, and poses like this one. One more breath. Stay long and hold. 3, 2, and 1. Bring that hand down even with the face. Right foot turns on its inside, left toe is going to sneak just slightly behind you so that you can open up again. Now the reason why I have this hand slightly off is because it does make me use my tricep a little bit more. If I pull this way underneath my shoulder joint, it's a lot of pressure straight down into that wrist, and for me that is really discomforting. So you can make the choice as to exactly where that hand goes, but feel free. Remember, we can explore various shapes here. Take your time, hands start to move back towards earth. Bring yourself down onto your knees again, curl those toes. Warm up the ankles and the muscles of the feet. 3 breaths in bear plank, so the knees hover just off the ground. Engage that core, pull belly button into spine. 2, 1, hips lift the rest of the way up. And we're back in down dog. All right, my friends, slow steps with the feet. Start to walk forward. Find your first forward fold of this morning's practice. Our head hanging down towards earth. Let your head hang heavy. All right, when you're ready, inhale, breath, long spine. Exhale, breath, hinge and fold. Inhale, breath, hands reach, look. Exhale out to make cactus. Let's do that again. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. This is your flowing series. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, fold. Keep that breath moving. Inhale, back up. If I'm going too fast, of course, you can slow the pace. All right, now do one more at your own pace. Try not to look at the screen. Try to just follow your own breath. Decide the pattern, the movement that feels best in your own spine, and then just meet me back at a nice tall mountain pose, hands coming into heart. Staying in this space for one more breath. Right foot begins to ground itself into earth, left toes lift to either kickstand, right at the inner calf, maybe up above the knee. We're a little less concerned about what's going on with this leg and more concerned about just trying to stand tall out of that opposing hip. So avoiding pushing this off to the side. So even if it means I gotta go touch a wall or a chair or a piece of furniture in my house in order to feel steady, that's okay. Lift the hands up if you feel like that's a good place for you today. Relaxing those shoulders from your ears. Maybe allowing the corners of your mouth to turn slightly upward. Three, 2, 1. Let that foot come down. Step as wide as the mat, especially if you're facing forward. Give the hips a little sway. And then we're going to plant the left foot right in the middle of our mat. Right in the middle of our mat. Tiptoe there. And then figure out your tree on the other side. So just as you did before here, again, we're a little less concerned about where this leg lands, more concerned about trying to keep this outer hip not only square if possible, but from shooting straight out to the side. So just find your space. Give it a couple more breaths. Trying your best not to look at the screen, find something else out in space. Send focus and attention 2, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful job. Let that foot come down to earth. Side sweeping those hips. Stand back up strong to the front of the mat. Inhale, breath, reach. Exhale, breath, fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, fold. Hands plant onto the mat. Feet step back, nice and long. Maybe plank pose. Feels good this morning. You like that strength in the arms and the core. Maybe the knees need to kiss down into the mat. That's okay too. Use the breath. Lower those toenails down. Lower the chest down, belly down. Everything into mat cobra breath. Cobra pose. Ease that back down. Hands walk back, perhaps toes curl under, press to knees or full plank, and then back up to your down dog. Left knee drops into earth, right foot steps forward towards your right thumb. Left hand stays on ground, right hand opens, twists. Chest turning towards that right knee. Exhale, bring this hand down to the inside of your front foot. Walk your front foot a little wider. So now I've got both hands on the inside of that front foot. Lean into that shape. Now you can stay here or lift a little higher if you want a real big stretch for that flexor this morning. Perfect. Begin to separate those hands. Take them back. Walk that right foot towards the center of your mat. Lift back knee, runner's lunge. Now this is where this back foot's going to come into play. We're going to slowly start to turn that foot on the ball of the foot until it catches parallel with the back of your mat. Use your left arm to circle up, and now you are in warrior two. So you might be opposite of me, and that's okay because I'm not really mirroring you right now. Gaze over that front hand. Flip your front hand, lean away from your bent knee. Back through to that side angle. Like we talked about in our opening sequence, the chest is turned to the side. Got a nice side body stretch. Let's do that dance one more time. Back to warrior two. Optional vinyasa here if you'd like. Begin to cartwheel your hands down towards the earth. Step this front foot all the way back for a down dog, or maybe it's a plank to either up dog or cobra. Maybe you meet me in down dog, maybe you're hanging out in child's pose. No worries. Once you find that down dog, looks like most of us are there. Right knee drops, left foot steps through. Right hand stays on earth, left hand begins to open twist. Hold. Lifted hand comes down, but it moves to the inside of that front foot. Releasing, maybe this foot turns slightly outward. Releasing into lizard, maybe toes curl under for a bigger shape, or the knee stays down. Start to walk this foot back to the center of mat, hands on either side, toes curl under. From here, we'll start to spin on your back foot. Let it turn until it's parallel with the back edge of your mat. Spin and open up, warrior two again. Hips are square to the side, gaze is forward, front hand flips, lean away. Back through to that side angle, take your time. Let's dance one more time. Fantastic, you're doing so well. Staying with that breath, continuing to move. Back to warrior two. Full vinyasa option if you'd like. Hands might move down. You can always use your knees and pull through here. Maybe you put yourself in a little baby plank. Come up, easy cobra. Take your time. Back to that downward dog. Now we're going to repeat basically the same series we just did. I'm just going to make it a little bit more advanced. When I tell you in just a moment to step your right foot to your right thumb, if you need to drop your left knee in the process, feel free. If not, right foot lifts nice and high. Inhale, breath here. Exhale, step that foot through. All the way forward to that right thumb. Left hand stays on the ground, open for a big twist. Now remember, this knee can always be on the earth. 1, 2, 3. Hands are going to just go down on either side. We're skipping the lizard. Spin the foot to its side, open back up, warrior 2. So we skipped the lizard, flip, reverse, and just dance. Give me one more of these. This next time when you get to your side angle, maybe throw a core challenge in. Maybe you spin both hands as if they were holding on to like a volleyball, basketball, beach ball. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Back to that warrior 2. Optional vinyasa. I'm just going to step to down dog. So if you want to spin on through here and add plank to cobra or up dog, feel free. Otherwise, I'm just going to step right here and take an extra breath in my down dog. All right, same thing. Left foot lifts high. Left foot steps through to left thumb. Remember, though, if we need to bring this knee down, we certainly can. Right hand stays on the ground. Left hand opens, twist. 3, 2, 1. Hand comes down. Take your time. Spinning on these back toes. Cartwheel that back arm up to find warrior 2. And then dance. Maybe it's loose the first time. Freeing. We're giving our body that balance and harmony it needs between strength and ease. Now, when you tip yourself into this next side angle, maybe you've got that little bit of abdominal challenge again. Think about holding the volleyball for 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful work. Back. Here's your optional vinyasa again, or step and enjoy that down dog. All right, once you find yourself to down dog, start thinking about bringing your big toes to touch one another. You're gonna bend your knees and drop them, but I want them to drop and open wide. Sit back onto your hips. Surrender the forehead, the chest, the belly, right down through the middle. And you've got 5 breaths here. Stay in this shape. Continuing to breathe. All right, my friends, use your inhale breath to start to walk your hands in a bit closer. We're gonna come back up, find our table again. When you feel ready, right hand is gonna stretch straight out in front, left toes straight behind. Hold. Right hand comes down and finds earth. Left foot, knee's gonna bend in, and then we're just gonna step this left foot off of our mat to the left side. So if you notice, my right knee is still down, my foot is straight behind me. I can either sit back here just for a moment, or you can begin to walk your hands closer and come up to stand high on that right knee. Hands reach high to the sky. The leg that's out to the side, that same arm is gonna fall gentle as we reach up and over the head with that right hand. One more breath here. Perfect, start to bring hands back to center. Bring them down in front. And we can stay right here, or you can curl the toes under a little bit and kind of lift yourself into a super awkward down dog. So you might just notice that your feet get super wide. It's kind of playful and silly. You're able to just kind of spin around on that front foot. Maybe walk your hands around. Just feels like I said, a super awkward, like you're falling over, wide leg fold. All right, knee drops down to earth. Bring this one back in. Sit back, reset the hips. Put those knees close together. One breath. Bring it back up to high knees. This time, right foot. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We gotta do our balance first. So take that right foot back behind again. Left hand reaches out. My bad. Whoops. Hold. Plenty of sneaky core work today. That's just the way I like core work, sneaky. I don't like to really think about it. When I think about it, I tell myself I don't like it. So I'm trying to be sneaky. All right, bend that knee. Step the foot out to the side. Sit into this knee a little bit if that feels good. That's an adductor stretch, so your inner thighs, you'll feel a nice good stretch on the inside edge there. Now you might notice that my toenails, when I start to come up, are flat to the earth back here. If that's okay with you, great. If not, you need to curl these toes under, that's okay too. You'll probably notice that I have a little more sway in my back than I should. That's always a focus that I have to really draw that core in and pay attention. So if you start to notice any kind of compression in your back, you're probably doing the same thing I am and letting your hips sit too far forward. So really always make sure you're working to square that. Right hand falls to the side. I've always been in kind of the, a tricky catch-22. I didn't know I need to strengthen my core, but every time I strengthen my core, it hurts my back. So then I don't want to do it. But the weaker my core is, the more my back hurts. So it's always a tricky space to be in. Pay attention to your own body, take your time, modify for what you need, and come back to center. Send them down. Here's that weird, awkward down dog. Toes curl under, and you just get to kind of go wide. I kind of like it. It's playful. You can do funky things with your hands. Let them walk around on the floor. You can kind of squish the toes down into the ground on either side. Get a little off the mat. Break the rules outside the box, which I'm all for. Sometimes it's nice to get off the mat. All right, bring those knees back to center. Keep them close, keep them kissing, and sit back if that feels okay to you onto those heels. Elbows might drop. You might need to hold your head. You might want to tuck the hands behind the head, wherever you are here in these next moments. One more big breath. All right, my friends, take your time. Start to transition yourself onto your seat. If you have a block handy, maybe go reach for it, bring it close to you, let it come to the party. I'm gonna sit in just a bound angle for a few moments. If that feels okay to you, you can join me. Toes touching, knees falling out and open. I have a little sensitivity in my inner thighs and outer hips today, so I'm gonna block my knees up just to give them a little bit more support. It might feel good to rock around like you're seeing me do. You might decide it feels good to go forward and back. Maybe you embrace just a little stillness and you let your head do the movement. Two more breaths. Inhale, start to stand the knees back up. Right leg's going to go long. Left foot comes to that inside edge, let it fall to the side. So we did tree on our back, tree standing, and now we've got something that looks like tree sitting. If you need, I'm gonna pull a blanket. If you have a blanket handy and you wanna use it just under the tip of your tail here as you sit, feet as you are seated, that might help, especially those of us who have kind of some crunchiness in our back, getting a little elevation. Just take your time to lean into that front leg. Some of you are gonna just look like this, and that's okay. Others of you maybe be able to bring your chest a little closer, or you add in, maybe you need something bigger on the bottom of the foot to get even a deeper stretch. Just decide where you are. Always leading with the crown of the head, making sure that we're hinging right at that hip crease, limiting the amount of compression down here on the lowest part of your spine. Knowing you can always have this block underneath that knee, just as we did before in that bound ankle. For 3, 2, and 1. Bring the chest up. I want you to stand this right knee or left knee, whatever knee this is. Stand it up for just a moment. Give it a little hug. Maybe even sweep the elbow underneath of it. Bring the opposite hand over to the bottom of the foot. Give yourself a little bit of hip space here. Some like a nice big long stretch here with hands on the bottom of the foot. If that feels good to you, you can take that shape. Others, that's pretty big. That's a lot for the IT band hamstring, and sometimes it feels really nice, and sometimes it feels like torture. You don't want to feel like torture. So just because you see someone do it on screen doesn't mean it fits your body or it's something you should do either, or that it should even be a goal to even get to. All right, bring yourself out of that, friends. Opposite foot slides up the mat. Knee falls out, we're looking for tree. On the other side, readjust yourself if you're kind of falling off your blanket. Make sure you're ready. Spine is tall, heart is lifted, crown leads that hinge. You're definitely to the part of practice where things can feel a little less like work, little hidden pieces of work. You're walking that line between an active stretch and finding the ease in the pose. You got flowing today. You used your breath. You definitely had some strengthening work in there, some balance work, some trickiness, twisting and moving on your feet, your ankles. No one can take that away from you. It's already done. Chest starts to come back up. Stand this knee up. And then take your time. Talk to that hip again. Excellent. Good work, my friends. Feet go long. Keep the blanket under the tip of the tail. One last, just a full forward fold here. Hold, breathe. Embrace any backside opening up the backs of those legs. One more breath. Beautiful. Start to bring that chest back up. Hands begin to move back behind the hips, knees bend. Optional crab pose here if that feels okay in your body to lift hips. If that shape doesn't work, my modification usually is stack pose. Legs are nice and long, hands just ground and push straight down into the earth on either sides of your hips. And you hold. 3, 2, and 1. Lower those hips down for those of you who have been in that crab. If you've had a blanket, you can do 2 things with it. You can just kind of set it off to the side, or you can go ahead and move it to the head of your mat to serve as a pillow. Start to recline back onto your backs. And we're not completely done with work just yet. So when you head to your back, start to put your feet and knees into nice 90s if you're able to. You're gonna lift your hands up to the ceiling. And then this is gonna be our last version of bird dog that we did today. So when your left leg goes long, you're gonna reach your right hand long overhead. When your right leg goes long, you're gonna reach your left hand. So your arm can go here in the middle, or maybe it reaches with the leg. Sometimes I'm not quite coordinated enough to keep it in the center. So I have to kind of send it with my leg. Now, just as I was showing you with those flutter kicks before, the lower we take this, the more strain we're gonna put on our core and our back, and that strengthening. If you need to just kind of do it higher, that's okay too. So remember, opposite foot, opposite arm. Try to talk, explain this to someone, and do it, and look at yourself on screen, and think about keeping everyone safe. Oh, goodness gracious. Sometimes my brain is in a little bit of an overload when I'm trying to teach. So just give yourself just a couple more of those dead bugs is what they're sometimes called, but a reverse bird dog here. Beautiful. All right, back to center. Hugging knees to chest if that feels like a good counter pose. Maybe you reach for ankles. Maybe you reach for the outer edges of the feet and give yourself a happy baby. All right, friends, seek your time. Feet start to move down towards the earth. If you have brought a block with you, it might feel nice to block yourself up into a supported bridge now. If you don't have a block, but maybe have a blanket or a pillow nearby, you can always slide that under your back. Let your back just have a slight lift. You can stay right here, or you might decide to elevate your feet a little bit. Some of us, this is a favorite pose. No matter what our practice has had in it, we like to be turned upside down. I know a couple of you do, because I can always see you do this even when I don't recommend it or don't suggest it. So if you want this waterfall or legs up the wall pose, fine. If you don't care for that, you'd rather just keep your feet on the floor, or maybe give yourself a nice long body stretch. All of those are open and available here in these next few moments. Making sure that you are fully aware of your breath, letting it move in and out of the body. Turning that awareness to the breath automatically helps us deepen it. Helps us find that sense of balance between the inhale and the exhale. Creating harmony and often a sense of peace within the body just by remembering to breathe. If and when you feel ready, it might feel nice to remove this block. And then I'm going to take the block and put it right in between my knees. Pull my knees into my belly. And do just some easy windshield wipers here, kind of holding on to that block. Arms might reach wide to T, palms down or palms up is going to be completely up to you and your own shoulders. But you're gonna let those knees just start to fall to one side. If you're practicing on kind of a tricky surface, this might be a little tender on your outer hip. If it is, you're certainly welcome to take the block from between your knees and maybe put it on the outer edge of the knee. Or you can reach for the blanket that's underneath your head and move it and position it underneath that hip. But you're only going to be here for just a few more breaths. So just see how the spine feels, turning the head in the direction of the knees, or maybe turning the head up towards the ceiling. Or if you want a big shape, you might turn your head in the complete opposite direction of those knees. Perfect. As you feel ready, maybe your hands, whatever your knee direction has been, that hand, for me, it's my left, just kind of helps bring those knees back to center. And then I'm going to help them over to the other side of my mat. So you might have to realign your spine. For me, my hips need to be shifted just a little bit so that that feels better in my back. If you need to do that, feel free. Knowing that twists are always optional. So if this doesn't sit well with you or your spine, you could be doing something different or something much more modified. You might bring this shoulder over with you and lay in somewhat of a fetal position instead, making it much more restful. And then just remember, whatever you want to do with your head, it can be facing up, can be facing in the opposite direction of those knees or in the direction of the knees. Palms can be flipped up or down. All right, friends, start helping that knee back to center if it isn't already there. Might feel nice again to pull those knees into chest to give yourself that same gentle windshield wiper. Taking your time to remove the block, start to bring feet gently down to the earth. And then we're going to figure out how we want to spend our last few moments of today's practice. So if anything feels like it's been left out, I'm going to take a little figure 4 shape just for a couple breaths. If you feel like that feels good to you, you might join me in this shape just for 2 or 3 breaths on one side and then switch to the other. If there's something else the body might be requesting, maybe you want a traditional pigeon, you'd like to get up and put yourself into a full pigeon, that's okay, you're welcome to do that. Or maybe you don't need something for your hips, you'd rather have a longer savasana today. Maybe it's just been one of those days already or one of those weeks, and you would like to give yourself just a little bit more quiet. Wherever you are in this phase of practice is quite all right. If you haven't switched legs in that figure 4, go ahead and do so. For those of you in full traditional pigeon, maybe a breath or 2 and then switch legs as well. Deciding when it's time to find Savasana. Choose a pose that allows you to feel truly relaxed in a space of comfort. If the back feels tender, maybe you've got bent knees, kissing one another, feet on the floor. Maybe you're choosing to reach for that block again and take that side lying Savasana where you bring yourself all the way to rest on your blanket on the side, eyes closed, curled up in somewhat of a fetal position. Maybe you take a long lying Savasana, reaching for your blocks, perhaps to tent or prop up the backs of the knees. Whatever shape you decide on is completely up to you, knowing you can lift those shoulder blades out, lift the hips out, point and flex the toes, give yourself a little bit of movement, and then just try your best. Or just try, just release the need to move and just take a big full breath and then see what stillness can feel like. Slowly starting to become aware of your breath. Allowing for gentle movement, maybe just wiggling the fingers or wiggling the toes. Maybe it feels good to pull knees into the chest and roll yourself to rest on either your right or left side. Resting in that side lying Savasana for as long as you feel you need to. One of the luxuries of practicing at home is that you can stay right in that Savasana as long as you want. No one is forcing you to meet us back at a seat, but if and when that feels good to you, you are certainly welcome to join us. We'll end today's class with the same thoughts we started with. Every thought I think is creating my future. The universe totally supports every thought I choose to think, and I believe I have unlimited choices about what I think. I choose balance, harmony, and peace, and I express it in my life. Every thought I think is creating my future. I hope today, as you moved through this morning's practice, you were able to experience a little bit of balance, harmony, and peace. May you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. It was wonderful. I'm so grateful to practice alongside you. Thank you again. Namaste. Thank you guys so much. Always great to start my Saturday with you.